What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View and welcome to Deadline Day Live. And we are indeed live. We are going to be live for the next 2 hours while we wait to see what happens in the final couple of hours of the summer transfer window. The window shuts at 11 p.m. Kind of. The reason I say kind of is because there is a possibility some of these deals could go into the wee hours of the morning. If you've been watching like Sky Sports News or listening to any radio show or what have you, you do know that in the next 2 hours, if a deal doesn't get done, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's off. What it does mean is there could be a delay because in this period of time between 9 p.m. and 11 p.m., British summertime, if both clubs as part of a deal submit what is called a deal sheet with getting signatures from the player and both clubs, then they have until around 1 a.m. in the morning. Now, I'm not going to be up till 1 a.m. in the morning with you guys because hopefully Manchester United will get all of their business done by then. But that is just something to consider. That is something just to consider as well when it comes to how this one is going to play out. Now, in the last couple of minutes, quite a lot's happened with Manchester United. We've got outgoings confirmed this afternoon. We've got incomings that have also been confirmed. And on top of that, we are still waiting. We are still waiting for the official announcement from Manchester United about the signing of Manuel Ugarte. Now, there isn't any reason to be concerned. There isn't any reason to worry that it's off or anything like that. In fact, there was just a report coming out of France, coming from a very reputable French journalist, Loic Tanzi, who writes for the likes of RMC Sport, L'Equipe, etc. He has said that Ugarte's no longer a PSG player. He's a Manchester United player. I guess United are just waiting for the right time, which they think they're going to do this announcement. So that announcement is going to come whilst we're live. We've also got confirmed exits now for Scott McTominay. We've got a confirmed announcement for Sékou Koné from Manchester United. We are still waiting. To see what's going to happen with Jadon Sancho. This Jadon Sancho situation is really, really, really interesting because there have been two offers, concrete offers from Chelsea, two loan offers for Jadon Sancho, possibly centering around an option or an obligation to buy. There seemingly has been personal terms agreed between Jadon Sancho and Chelsea, but it's about whether Manchester United actually want to, or they're happy with the conditions of this deal. So there's that also to consider. It looks like the whole talk about possibly Raheem Sterling going to Manchester United, that is off. That is off because it's looking possible like that Raheem Sterling could be going to Arsenal on loan. Now, Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted in the last few seconds. I can see it right here with my multiple screens here. Screens. He has just tweeted Fabrizio Romano that Manuel Ugarte and Manchester United official soon. So official soon means that probably in the next hour, we are getting this announcement regarding Manuel Ugarte to Manchester United. I suppose maybe they might have been waiting for Scott McTominay to get an official announcement from Napoli regarding that. That has now happened in the last few minutes or so. Just to confirm, this is what Manchester United said. They actually wrote a really lengthy statement on Scott McTominay about his sort of departure from Manchester United, talking about his, his time at the club, and was very thankful. There's been like a video that's gone out on social media too. So we'll read that in just a second. But just a reminder, guys, be sure to smash the like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. A reminder too, that we're going to get lots of people coming in and out of here over the next 2 hours or so. The likes of Minna, Dylan from United District is going to be here. Even one KG, that comedian, said he may grace us with his presence as well. So, and anyone else that could be coming too. So there is going to be lots of involvement here. So if you haven't already, click the like button, settle in, and you may have to be my eyes and ears at certain points because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, a lot of information going around all over the place. We'll do our very best to keep us up to date as we possibly can. So, Manchester United released the following statement after Scott McTominay was confirmed to have joined Napoli. They said Manchester United midfielder Scott McTominay has completed a permanent move to Napoli. They go through his time at Manchester United. Again, it's a really, really lengthy statement, talking about the goals that he scored, etc. They conclude by saying McTominay will be missed by everyone at the club and leaves with our best wishes as he embarks on a new chapter of his career in Italy. The switch to the Serie A giants Napoli sees him link up again with former United teammate Romelu Lukaku, who has finalised a transfer from Chelsea and will play under Antonio Conte. Good luck, Scott. Arrivederci, and thank you for the fabulous memories. Now, he's also actually going to be joined by fellow Scotland international Billy Gilmour. Billy Gilmour, we got the here we go with that one too, on his way from Brighton to Napoli. So they've had a very busy couple of days, haven't they? A very busy couple of days when it comes to their signings. As far as the McTominay one, in terms of numbers, because I know you guys love numbers, it looks to be a £25 million deal up front with £5 million in add-ons. So we're looking at a total of a £30 million deal for Scott McTominay, which I think is great value for money. I think is really good value for money, considering that, you know, there was a lot of worry and pushback when we were rejecting bids from Fulham of around £20 million or even less. And it was take the money, take the money, take the money. He's rubbish. They got the money that they wanted, which was around that £30 million mark. So I think that once again, the Manchester United football leadership team has done very well in the transfer window to get the prices that they've been looking for. And of course, from an FFP, PSR point of view, it is pure profit. Erik ten Hag had his say, didn't he, earlier today about his feelings about those rules. And I do think he is kind of right with that one. It does feel a bit, again, just a bit, the way that the rules are now, that clubs having to actively sell off academy players just to be able to sort of fund their business is kind of nuts, isn't it? But that's the way that Manchester United and all other Premier League clubs now have to operate. But that means that opens the pathway for Manuel Ugarte. Of course, he had his medical a couple of days ago at this point. I mean, all of the talk was that it was going to be Ugarte Day yesterday, wasn't it? That was what it was. That was all the suggestion. It's going to be Ugarte Day yesterday. And it never really happened. It never came to pass. Now, again, is that because of there was a couple of delays? Is that because, we were waiting for the McTominay deal to go through as well? Why was that? We don't know, but Romano has just said to expect an announcement very soon, which could mean, 22 minutes time, half, but it's going to be a round number, obviously. Usually, the way Manchester United like to do these things, certainly from the social point of view, is on a quarter-hour mark. So let's say 9:15, they would put up a Uruguay flag with eyeballs emoji, and you go, right, 15 minutes. It's going to be Manuel Ugarte, or half past, they'll go Uruguay flag, 30 minutes or something like that. So that's what we're waiting for, essentially. But that is going to happen very soon, according to Fabrizio Romano. I mean, I suppose that's no real surprise very soon because it has to. There's only 2 hours left. So, of course, it needs to happen very soon, but it is going to be coming soon. So once that happens, of course, we'll bring you all of the quotes and the updates for all of that. Now, a lot's been going on with midfielders in the time which I last spoke to you lovely people, because the signing, another deadline day signing of young midfielder Sékou Koné has also been confirmed by Manchester United. Now, again, we did know that this one was coming. We had heard from Fabrizio Romano, hadn't we? What was that, a week or so ago? A couple of weeks ago? We got the here we go on that one, that Koné was coming in. He's a Mali youth international. He was, got a very, I say sought after, but certainly high reputation based off recent performances in the Under-17 World Cup for Mali, in which I think they beat people like Argentina or Spain or something like that. Now, Manchester United did say in their statement that Koné only turned 18 in February and will initially be supported by the academy in order to give him time to settle into life in Manchester. He has put pen to paper in advance of the closure of the summer transfer window, which, of course, is taking place in a couple of hours' time. The picture of him putting pen to paper was with Manchester United technical director Jason Wilcox. But the interesting thing with Koné is kind of how he's being perceived, because, of course, he is 18, which makes you think, well, we've got players of a similar age, very good players, but players of a similar age playing in the Manchester United first team at the moment. So, could he be actually playing in the Manchester United first team fairly soon, fairly quickly? And the answer to that is Possibly, possibly. Now, I think in the immediate future, as they mentioned, he's only just turned 18. They want him to acclimatize to Manchester United. They want him to acclimatize to the country. So there's going to be sort of no rush. And he is going to be training with the academy or playing with the academy. But he could be playing or training rather with the first team. In fact, Samuel Lutkes, in just the last few minutes, has tweeted saying Manchester United do not consider Sékou Koné as an academy signing. He will start training with the under-18s to adjust to life in England, as I mentioned, but his first appearance for the club will be with the under-21s before he eventually transitions to the first team squad. So what we could see with him, I think, is a potential that maybe, latter stages of the season, maybe sort of 3/4 of the way through, maybe halfway through, depending on how quickly he adapts and he settles, we could start to see him being involved in matchday squads. Now, you would hope, again, that it's not like a repeat of last season where we're going that, it's not a repeat of last season when we're going, just try him because everyone else is injured or playing shit. The ideal scenario would be that our midfielders are actually playing okay. And it's a case of, well, we want to bring it in for experience and we can be quite, tactical about these kind of things, right? That would be the hope for him. But I think it's a really exciting signing because it's just something we don't do really. And when we do these kind of signings, they don't really pay off or lead to all that much sometimes, do they? They go, what happened to that guy? And then you go, oh yeah, he kind of played once, then he kind of disappeared. It's exciting. And the hope would be with him, of course, wouldn't it? The hope would be that in a year's time, 2 years' time, we're going, how much did you get Koné for? 1 million quid. He's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League or something like that. I don't want to set those expectations too high, but you understand my point that that's what you hope. That's what you hope. And these kind of deals are the ones that people like, say, Brighton or Brentford or whoever are really good at doing, aren't they? Where, a couple of years' time, you go, well, I didn't even know they signed that player. Where did they get him from? They go, oh, yeah, they signed him like 2 years ago. Really good player. And you go, if we tried to get him now, he'd be like 80 million quid. So that's exciting. That's encouraging. And the one thing I think we just have to resist, though, is let's say, I don't know, it's October or something. Let's say it's October and it's not going great for us, or we're a bit light in midfield. We've got to, I think, resist the urge as fans, because I think the club will do it, but as fans to be like, put Koné in there. God, just put him in there. And be like, put him in when he's ready. Let's put him in when he's ready. Let's take it easy. What we have done, certainly Erik ten Hag has done well with youngsters, is know the right time to put some of these guys in and wait for the right opportunity to put some of these guys in. And, or even just, even if they're not playing, put them on the bench. Just let them experience a match day. Or in the case of Harry Armash during the Community Shield, just train, just warm up with the first team, just to, again, get a feel of it. Just get a feel of it. Wembley, this is what it's like, that kind of thing. So that's very exciting too. So that's been announced today for Manchester United as well. And as far as other potential outgoings that could be happening in the next 2 hours, well, Jadon Sancho. Yes, Jadon Sancho. Who knows? Honestly, who knows what happens with Jadon Sancho in the next 2 hours or possibly longer? Because as I mentioned, there could be extensions involved in this. But who knows? Because was it yesterday or the day before last? It's Juventus are the favourite. Juventus are the favourite. They're getting Jadon Sancho. Late last night, this morning, that deal's completely on hold, completely standby. It's at a standstill. United, Juventus can't agree money. It's not really happening. Now, today, it's really pivoted into Chelsea. Chelsea's the likely destination for Jadon Sancho. That's the likely destination. So much so that David Ornstein's reported today that Chelsea are expected to reach an agreement with Manchester United to sign Jadon Sancho before the transfer window closes. Now, apparently, according to Ornstein, Sancho is keen on this proposed move to Stamford Bridge. Negotiations between the club centre over a loan with an obligation to buy, with discussions continuing over a possible permanent fee. It's also been reported by Fabrizio Romano that there's been not one, but 2 bids that have been put on the table by Chelsea for Jadon Sancho. And here we go. Here we go. I mean, quite literally, here we go. Breaking news.
Breaking news.
I told you this is what they would do. I told you this is what they would do. I said to you guys, when it gets to a round number, they will put a Uruguayan flag with something, and that is exactly what they've just done. Manchester United, 9:15 p.m., have posted a tweet saying, mate, you need to see this, with a Uruguayan flag. And what's that drink called? Can someone there's a specific name for that drink, I think. Someone let me know. I'm not that cultured. But I told you that's what was going to happen. So that to me says 9:30. 9:30, we are getting a Manuel Ugarte announcement. Yeah, that's what it is. Is it called Mate? Is that what it's called? Well, I had no idea. I told you, I'm very uncultured. And my style advice says big over. Thank you very much. And thank you for the contribution. I never knew that was called Mate. That is, was that how you wouldn't pronounce it like that? Would you pronounce it like Mate or Mate? Mate is how you'd pronounce it. Is that how you'd say it? It's very clever. It's very clever by Manchester United, isn't it? Matey. Mate. Phonetically. Never had it, you know. I don't even drink coffee anymore. So, has it got caffeine in it? I want you, because you always see the funny thing, don't you? The sort of receptacle that it's in. Yes. It's made by soaking dried yerba mate from a calabash gourd, also called the mate, but also made from a cattle horn in some areas, not all the time. A very, very similar preparation known as mate cocido removes some of the plant material and sometimes comes in tea bags. Today, mate is sold commercially in tea bags and as bottled iced tea. You learn something new. The metal straw is known as the bombilla or bomba, and it's traditionally made of silver. Modern straws are typically made of nickel silver, stainless steel, or hollow-stemmed cane. The bombilla functions as both a straw and as a sieve. The submerged end is flared with some small holes or slots that allow the brewed liquid in. If anyone's just tuning in, you know, I'm learning. The rest probably not. They're probably going, oh, what are you fucking on about? They're literally going,
what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, you learn. There's nothing. I tell you what as well. Yeah, I tell you what as well. I apologize, Manchester United. Yeah, because there's nothing worse than when you've done like a good pun, isn't it? There's nothing worse than when you've done a good pun. It's very smart what they've done there, and that's gone miles over my head. Miles over my head. Going, it would have been. I'm sure Lot's got it. I'm sure Lot's got it. I'm sure it was fine. But the important thing is, fuck the tea, right? We're getting Ugarte's finally going to be announced. That's good, right? So that's coming up. Well, about 10 minutes time. 10 minutes time. So we'll have some quotes for that. But to be honest with you, then, when it comes to our business for the evening, kind of it. When it comes to incomings, I don't think we can expect. I don't think we can expect really any other sort of late dramatic incomings or anything like that. There are positions that, you know, in retrospect, I mean, this is probably for later on, but to reflect on the window, obviously there's positions we'd hope we would have got in this window that we haven't. Left back, obviously, but I'm still pretty happy with this transfer window, particularly with what I think people's perceptions of it was going to be going into it. Some super chats here. D says City buy too low and shelve them. Savio, Ineos. Amanor also says, Owen, please could you do a graphic on latest signings? Whilst I'm live, Amanor, I can only multitask so much. I could only multitask so much, Amanor. My goodness. I'll just keep saying Ugarte. I'll keep saying Ugarte over and over again. That's what I'll keep doing. Yeah, we don't really have anything for that, and I'm not on the on my usual thing for that. But I'm sure we can figure something out when it does get announced. But that's exciting. That's exciting. It's just a matter of time until Ugarte. Of course, he's not going to be available for Sunday. He's not going to be available for Sunday's game at Old Trafford against Liverpool. Wasn't registered in time, which obviously then led to one of many, I guess, freakouts of the day. We should schedule them in, I think, at this stage, because we go through them enough, don't we? We go through them enough with the freakouts. I've seen quite a few freakouts about all of this Jadon Sancho stuff, in all honesty, today, which is really, really interesting, I think, because for as much as the sentiment has been, right, he just should go, and I want to just be done with it, move on, United get a good deal, that's it. We start to panic, don't we? We start to panic, I think, as fans, because then we go, what if he goes to Chelsea and he's good? Then we'll look bad. And my reaction to that would be, who gives a shit how we look? You know what I mean? Who cares? I mean, he went to Dortmund and got into the Champions League final, and people were having to be like, see, they're in the Champions League final, Man United in the mud. Who cares? The moment Jadon Sancho is no longer a Manchester United player, it's none of our burden or issue anymore, is it really? Yeah. And if I hope genuinely for Jadon Sancho, he gets the move that he wants to. I hope with Jadon Sancho that he plays regular football, and I hope that he can kind of resurrect his career, because it's been so stop-start, hasn't it, for the last couple of years. We've got a goodbye from Manuel Ugarte here. It's going to be difficult. I don't speak French, and I don't speak Spanish either, so I don't think that one's going to happen, in all honesty. If someone can do a quick translate, that would be lovely. But I can read it out in my best attempt at French. I'll have no idea what it means. Aujourd'hui, il est temps pour moi de vous dire au revoir. It's time for me to say goodbye. Tick. I tell you what, that's good. That is good. That's GCSE. Got an A in French. Haven't done it in a while. I'm not sure what that last word means. Je ne peux pas me empêcher de vous remercier pour tout les soutiens que vous m'avez apporté. So, you tell me. You tell me, yeah? So, if it was German, it would be better. I could do German. French, too hard. French, too bad. And it's been a while. It's been a while when it comes to the French, okay? It's been a while. Maybe I'll try Spanish. I've never done that language before. Absolutely no way. I took two looks at it. Absolutely no way. Absolutely no way. I couldn't even do the first word. I thought hoy. I believe I'm going out on a limb here that Manuel Ugarte is his name. I think that's what I'm getting towards the end of that. It says club in there. I think he's referring to PSG when he's saying club in that one. I mean, not really. Basically saying goodbye. basically saying goodbye. So
poor, and I mean poor.
I thought it was fine, Kenny, to be honest.
Absolutely woeful. Absolutely woeful.
Wow.
Do you fucking understand me on that?
I don't understand it. That's kind of the problem, the judge. I don't understand what he's saying in it. I wish I could. I wish I could, you know. I thought that would be fine. I'm waiting for someone to translate still. Boff Pamau. So that's what I'm going with. Maybe if I do it in my Morgan Freeman voice. If I do it in my Morgan Freeman voice, then maybe I'll sound a bit more French. Where is my Morgan Freeman voice? I've lost it. Where is that one? I think it's disappeared. Maybe it got like copywritten. That was good. I can do it in the trailer voice. I don't know where Morgan Freeman one's gone from. Damn. I've really lost track. I've really lost track of where I was at as well. Lil Yo says, thanks, so I understood you perfectly. It was good, wasn't it? It was good. You know what I mean? If only I had French stock music. I can't play music because I'll get thrown off. We'll get copyright. I was going to play the national anthem and try and read it out again. If I was on playback right now, that's exactly what I would do. I would play the French national anthem and I would read out that whole thing. Is what I would do. But yeah, I can't. You know,
excuses.
I know. Amador with a super chat says, Owen, can you give KG a call? Is he excited? Well, KG said he is going to drop in later on. He did say that that's what's going to happen. So he is going to drop in later on. So we will hear from one KG, the comedian. I'm desperately waiting for this announcement now. 3 minutes to go, folks. Let's just sit in silence. Could you imagine? Let's just together. Let's just wait until it happens. What's everyone been up to? Yeah, everyone all good? You had a nice day? Yeah, good. Oh, I'll tell you what. Look at Adam. Look at this. Nice. I knew there was going to be a translator in here. Says, just read it. Basically saying the usual stuff. Thank you to PSG, the fans, and staff and players. He also says he learned a lot, and he's sorry his time didn't work out as he hoped for. Big up. See, as all people good. Leo says, not a bad day, mate. Yeah, nice. Good. Appreciate that. Steffi Jenks says, I was sick in bed. Oh dear. I'm sure the chat will wish you better. Hopefully you get better soon. What a nightmare. Yeah. Hopefully it's not too bad. Ada says, how's your day been? It's been all right. Yeah, been good. Yeah, been all right. Bit busy. Yeah, but yeah, it's fine. It was good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, no problem. What else? People? What else people said? David says solving a Rubik's cube. It's good fun. It is. So some people can do it very quickly. I've never been for, never been good at that. It's not really been my thing, isn't it? So Aria says been doing daddy duties. Big up. Appreciate that. That's good. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed your day doing daddy duties, Aria, as well. Big up to you. Gary says big up to yourself, Owen. Nice. Yeah. Aminor says, Owen, I wish I was out with my girlfriend and my missus. I feel like you may need to reevaluate that one, Aminor, in all honesty. Less than 60 seconds to go. So that's good. I would just see it also as well, Raheem Sterling and Arsenal deal nil at the final stages. So it does look like Sterling's going to get his move. To Arsenal on loan, most likely. Looks like that's gonna happen. It's also always really weird with these. There you go. It's been announced. Press the button, Owen. Press the button. You've worked your whole life for this.
Breaking news.
Manuel Ugarte has signed for Manchester United. I do my announcer voice. Manuel Ugarte has signed for Manchester United. He's joined Manchester United on a 5-year deal with an option of an additional year. Dan Ashworth, the Manchester United sporting director, has said, Manuel was another of our primary targets for this summer. He is among the very best ball-winning midfielders in the world and has an excellent record at both club and international level. There's pictures of him with Erik ten Hag. There's pictures of him. Look at that picture right there. There's a picture of Ugarte standing next to Ten Hag with the words, unite and fight. Yes, that's what we like to see from him. He's also in the third kit there as well. Love that third kit. He's pictured signing his 5-year Manchester United contract too. There is a press release from Manchester United. It says as follows. Manchester United is pleased to confirm that Manuel Ugarte has joined the club subject to registration because he's not registered just yet. The Uruguay international has signed a contract until June 2029 with the option to extend for a further year. Last season, Ugarte, 23, won the league and cup double with Paris Saint-Germain before playing every game at Copa America and being named in the team of the tournament, taking his tally of international caps to 22. Since the start of the 2022-23 season, Ugarte has averaged the second highest number of tackles per 90 minutes in Europe's major leagues. The only person, by the way, to tackle more was Paulinho, who everyone was saying, we need to sign a younger Paulinho. That's what we've done. We have signed a younger Paulinho. Quote, the passion. Oh, actually, I missed out a paragraph there. Manuel Ugarte said, I'll start reading in French again. It's an incredible feeling to join a club of this magnitude, one that is admired all around the world. The project that the football leadership discussed with me is extremely exciting. Manchester United is an ambitious club, and I am an ambitious player. The passion of supporters is something that is very important to me. I know how incredible United fans are, and I cannot wait to experience Old Trafford. I'm someone who is so determined to succeed. I will sacrifice and give everything for my teammates. Together, we will fight to win trophies and reach the level where the club needs to be. We spoke about this previously, but I'll say it once again. Dan Ashworth, Manchester United sporting director, said, quote, signing Manuel was another of our primary targets this summer. He is among the very best ball-winning midfield players in the world and has an excellent record at both club and international level. His qualities, experience, and passion will be a great complement to our strong group of midfielders. Manuel is a player we watch closely, and we are excited to see the positive impact he will make on the pitch and in the dressing room as we continue to strive for success. Those are the quotes from not only Manuel Ugarte, but also the Manchester United sporting director himself. Confirmation, Manuel Ugarte is a Manchester United player. The fee, let's get this correct. The fee, according to Simon Stone from BBC, has said, the fee, that's my Simon Stone, Manuel Ugarte, he signed for Man United. The fee. I think the fee's £42.08 million. It was around £8.42 million in add-ons. You can say that part, Simon. Contract until June 2029 with a 1-year option. And then he goes on to put the quotes out there as well. So yes, the moment we have all been waiting for, the moment where we were waiting for this evening, we were hoping for, Manuel Ugarte is officially a Manchester United player. Manuel Ugarte has officially put pen to paper on his Manchester United deal. He is not going to be available, of course, as mentioned, at the weekend against Liverpool. Most likely, he will be there at Old Trafford. And we're probably going to get what we get every year, by the way, which is the player comes out on the pitch, waves to the fans. Usually there's an ex-player there as well that that they talk to. If it was Varane and it was Rio, with Casemiro, it was Roy Keane. Rasmus didn't have one last year when he came out. I don't think there wasn't a player, but it is going to be a Super Sunday, so maybe it should be Roy Keane again. Do it twice. Why not? Yes. So Manuel Ugarte, a Manchester United player. So the question is, now what happens when it comes to some of the outgoings, and also how are we all feeling about not only this signing, but also about this window? Because it looks like, doesn't it, that this is would be the end of Manchester United's incoming in this transfer window, wouldn't it? That looks like Ugarte is going to round it out. So if you're going to look at the signings that we've done, it began with who came first? It was Lenny Yoro came first, wasn't it? Was it Yoro that came first, or was it Xerxes that came first? God, it's been so long. Was it? It was Xerxes, wasn't it? Xerxes was the first one. Then it was Yoro. Xerxes was the first one. Then it was Yoro. Then it was obviously De Ligt and Mazraoui. And now it's Bamolo Ugarte. 5 transfers through the door for Manchester United, and some significant outgoings as well. That's the important part too. Some significant outgoings: Mason Greenwood, Scott McTominay, Willie Camboila, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Donny van de Beek, and then lots of Hannibal Mejbri, and then other academy players for kind of sort of smaller fees, wasn't it? But it all adds up. I think. Isn't this the sort of highest amount Manchester United have generated in a transfer window? I think. But if it's not, it's right up there at this point. So it's been a heck of a window. It's been an exciting window, I think. It's been an emotionally draining window, isn't it? An emotionally draining window too. But still, I think that they deserve Ineos. So I made a good point the other day, and it is very true, actually. We should probably stop saying Ineos, shouldn't we, when it comes to the football leadership team at Man United? We should probably just say, Manchester United, because that's what they are. But I think they've done well. I think they've done very well. Now, obviously, once again, it's not. People get so carried away, don't they? That and people saying Koné as well. Ish. I mean, I know there's a thing tonight, isn't there, saying that, Man United don't view him as an academy signing, and they have technically announced it in the way that, well, they kind of have and haven't. I suppose they have announced it the way they usually would, but no one's going, we're really, really strong now because we've got those, we got the 6 signings, are they? Yes. So point being is, I think it's a good window by Manchester United. Does it mean Manchester United are totally fixed? Of course not. Of course not. Does it mean that we hit every position that we wanted to hit this summer? Of course not. Is it more than I probably expected? Honestly, yes. I think it is more than I expected, because I know we get so excited, don't we, about, rip it up and exits and what have you. But at the same time, we usually, what was it last summer? Was it like 3 or 4 signings last summer? Mount, Onana, Højlund. Am I missing someone else? I forget. But was it 3 or 4? 4. I forget which one was the 4th one last season. But you get my point. I was expecting probably something similar to last year, where we might get like Amrabat. Thank you, Osama. I was expecting something a bit like that, where it was like maybe 4, but it's really like 3. It's really like 2, and it did really concern me. I'm gonna be honest. When earlier on in the window, you start seeing sort of the Jared Branthwaite stuff, 70 million quid. If it was the previous regime, I'm telling you now, Fleck, yeah, it would have been, we pay 70 million and we don't get anyone else. That's what it would be. And the fact that we have managed to get 5 through the door, all a similar profile of players that are, mid-20s, good fees as well. It's almost similar to that kind of City model, where in an ideal world, they're all sort of 60 million pounds or under. I think they have, at points when it comes to negotiating as well, they have stood firm. They have known exactly what they wanted in terms of the prices that they were looking for too. And they've got them. They've got them. whether it be all the way back to Dan Ashworth. I saw some of that today. I saw some of the and I don't know. I don't even know if this transfer is going to happen, and I don't know how confirmed some of the finer details are from this. But there was rumors about Newcastle wanting to possibly put a bid in for Anthony Elanga, and obviously, naturally, people go, "Is there like a Man United salon clause or something involved in that? Like, what is that? Like, what are the finer details in that one?" And I think Nottingham Forest rejected the bid in the end. But could you imagine that Man United actually ended up only paying like 3 or 4 million quid for Dan Ashworth to Newcastle when they wanted 20? The guy that had nothing to do with their great signings was terrible. But they've got Paul Mitchell. Remember that? They got Paul Mitchell, and we didn't even want Dan Ashworth. So screw you. Look, funny. Yeah, look, you're the real loser. I see them now cussing out Paul Mitchell for not getting their players through the door because they want a gay from Crystal Palace, and they're not happy with the signings that they haven't made as well. And then, if they had signed Elanga, they'd have ended up obviously had to pay money for Forest, and some of the salon fee would have meant they would have been indirectly paying United, and it could be a similar amount to what we actually gave them for Dan Ashworth in the first place. So we're technically getting him for nothing. Could you imagine? It would have been terrific. It would have been tremendous. But I don't think that deal's actually happened. A couple of super chats here. Joe C says, keep saying Ineos, its Glazers deserve no credit. Well, that's also the other part of it as well, isn't it? Because you do want to sort of emphasize that it is right. I'm bringing Dylan in, and whilst I'm bringing Dylan in, hello Dylan, by the way. We also have some breaking news.
Breaking news.
I don't know how many times I'm going to press that button this evening, but Dean has just said in the last few seconds, a minute. Oh, there is some real breaking news. Because I just saw something flash up on my screen. I don't know if it is indeed. We've got a here we go for Jadon Sancho to Chelsea. That is from Fabrizio Romano right now. It's breaking. It says Jadon Sancho to Chelsea. Here we go. A loan deal with an obligation to buy clause has been agreed between the clubs. Sancho has already said yes. He wanted Chelsea move to Chelsea. The deal is now agreed between all parties. Manchester United have accepted the proposal, and a deal is now set to be signed. I was just the other breaking news I was going to say was Ornstein had basically said the same thing, but they've both literally done it at the exact same time. So mere minutes after the announcement that Manuel Ugarte is now signed for Manchester United, we've now got a here we go for Jadon Sancho to Chelsea. Thoughts?
It's been a roller coaster couple of days, Owen, hasn't it? Especially
it really
in the
has.
last like 12 hours. It was like when I was in the studio on Thursday, mid-recording, it was apparently that Juventus had agreed a deal with United, and then we finished recording. I get home and that's changed. I had to then message Josh being like, we've got to change the title because it was something wrong. And then, Jadon Sancho off to Chelsea. This is turned out better than I thought it was going to, because I thought we were going to get Sterling. And I was kind of going, I can convince myself that's a good deal. But now he's going to Arsenal, Sterling, it seems. Yeah. And Sancho's gone to Chelsea, obligation to buy, which is perfect. I want to know what the fee is, though. Because if we get fleeced and it's like a 15 million fee, obviously happy. I say happy he's gone off the wage books, all of that, but we need a decent fee from this. That's kind of the last thing I'm hoping out for. Anything above 20 mil, honestly, at this point. Anything above 20 mil, I'll take.
Me too. Minna, welcome. You've come at a perfect time. We've got a here we go for Jadon Sancho to Chelsea.
For real?
For real, in the last 60 seconds. Literally a minute ago. Here we go, Jadon Sancho to Chelsea. David Ornstein is also basically saying the same thing as well. A loan with an obligation to buy. No details just yet about actually what that obligation is, how much it is. But you would think the fact that Manchester United have accepted this proposal, it's got to be a fee that Ineos were looking for anyway, which was around, I mean, earlier today they were saying 25 million. Maybe it is 25, maybe it's a bit more, but thoughts on that? He's going to Chelsea.
I'm shocked. I can't lie. I've been going back and forth with people, by the way, all day. Me and KG were going back and forth because I wanted Sancho to leave, but I'm just like, Chelsea really is like, since when did we normalize selling to rivals?
I don't know. It's
I get
it's
it.
modern game, isn't it?
I get it. He needs to go. He needs to go. And you know what? All the best of luck to him. Hopefully, November 2nd when we play Chelsea, and I think that one is 18 May. We play Chelsea as well. I hope he doesn't even make the squad, let alone the bench, let alone the starting 11. But it is what it is, man. This saga comes to an end, man. Good riddance. Honestly, I am happy to see the back of. I don't ever want to hear player versus manager and everything that we kind of seen for the last 18 or so months. By the way, fun fact, did you know it's been over a year now since he last played a game for Manchester United in a competitive game? Premier League, it's been over a year since he played in the Premier League. Honestly, all the best of luck. Like, good luck to him. No good luck to him. I don't know if you lot are willing to wish him luck. I wish everyone luck when they leave United, but can this just be further proof of how high wages and a big a transfer fee doesn't always mean Man United are going to get a great talent?
I mean, it's such a wild situation, isn't it? It is such a wild situation. The fact that, as Dylan was saying, like just a couple of days ago, it was like, you don't even have to worry about Chelsea. Like, he's going to Juventus. Like, that's what it's going to be. And to be fair, there was a German journalist, I don't know, a week or so ago that was like, he's Chelsea interested, and they might be looking into moving some players on to make that actually happen. And he was right. he was right.
I remember I first read that, and then I'd send it to some just Chelsea people I know, and they were like, no. Why would we do that? And then lo and behold, 3 days later, boom, here we go to Chelsea. The thing
Literally,
about Minnie, you just mentioned about selling to rivals. There's come a point now that the Premier League is so strong that almost any time any two Prem clubs do a deal with each other, you can say they're selling to rivals. Just because the quality, like there's 6 top 6 teams. There is now Aston Villa, there is now Newcastle, and there's other teams popping up doing well each season in the Prem. So in the same way, like, rivals are now just always been doing deals with each other, especially because football is becoming so obviously business orientated, where these players, and they're not just players, they're assets. Chelsea are trying to get Sterling off the book so they can get their wage price down. I'm not sure what wage Sancho's agreed with Chelsea, but I'm going to assume it's on a lower wage than what he was at United, because Chelsea want to get wages off the books, hence why they're getting rid of Sterling, as well as the whole Maresca thing. But I'm not too bothered about it, selling to a rival Chelsea, but because Chelsea have done us a favour here. We might end up doing Chelsea a favour as well by giving them a player that can play well for them. But right now, Chelsea have done us a big favour.
With Sancho going to Chelsea, I look at it and I feel like, I think it was inevitable that he was going to leave to whoever in the summer when Umar Barada and Dan Ashworth, etc., came in. Because obviously they came in, suddenly he was back in training. And I said at that time, he's not back in training because him and the manager have made up. He's back in training because they need to make it out like it's a happy home and everything is good at Carrington so that they can get a decent fee for him. And I'm not surprised they're selling him, because aside from everything that happened with him and Erik ten Hag, Umar Barada is familiar with Jadon Sancho from his time at City. Dan Ashworth is familiar with Jadon Sancho with his time at the FA. Dan Ashworth was part of that centre of excellence that was developing this England kind of mentality for Southgate. So he would have known about what Jadon Sancho was like at England camp and all of that kind of stuff. I think even though they came in, even if he went on loan and had a great spell at Dortmund, they were going to sell him. It was always, I think it's not kind of... it's not a testament to Erik ten Hag has won. I think it's more so, let's stamp out what the issues are in the club and create like a harmony in the dressing room. Because like it or not, I do think this situation, as much as it's had the fan base divided, I think it probably had the fan base and the dressing room a little bit split, because Jadon Sancho, I think he had friends in the dressing room. He had England friends. He's had other sort of friends in the team, people he gets along with, and there's been reports coming out that people hadn't been happy with that situation. I hope that this is a statement sale for Sancho, not that Erik ten Hag has won, but that bullshit will not be tolerated at Manchester United no more. There's no more players doing what they want, how they please, all of that kind of stuff. And just on Jadon Sancho, just one last thing. I think as much as the fan base are kind of upset with him, I think the players have every right to be disappointed with him, whether that's whether they agree with what he's done, etc., etc. He let everybody down last season when he decided to stay firm on his stance between him and Eric Ten Hag in a season where United were struggling to have anybody fit. He could have been an asset from September, October, November, December until he left. He chose to let his teammates go out into the battlefield and fight a battle, and he sat back in the trenches and allowed people to be in the firing range. As much as we're critical of people last season, because people are quick to give it to Rashford for his performances, people are quick to give it to Lindelof, give it to Shaw, etc. Jadon Sancho deserves some of that criticism for last season too, whether or not he was on the pitch.
A couple of super chats here. Ray says, Owen, are you having PTSD? Well, it's been a long day, mate. Do you expect a bad transfer for an over 30 superstar at 300k/ a week? Is this transfer window too good to be true? Or am I expecting that for the Raheem Sterling thing or whatever? That's not happening. Amanor says, can we sneak in a left back before the deadline? I don't think so at this point. I think that's off the cards. And Kishan says, any update on Chukwuemeka? We need one more. Greed. Do you know what? That was a really interesting development today, wasn't it? That one kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. But then once more details, I mean, you might know more than me about this, Dylan. Once more details came out about this, it kind of actually was that we had spoken about him earlier on in the week.
Yeah.
And then nothing had kind of happened since then.
It read like, again, like all this stuff will come out and we'll know all the details once The Athletic put their 2,000-word piece on United transfer window out in the next couple of days, because they risk everything. But it read like it was something that had been discussed, and then maybe that wasn't really told. Like people weren't really told about that until today, because all the things were like, this had been considered, this had been discussed, so maybe it had been something that they had talked about on Explored previously. But I don't reckon that was ever really going to happen, because United at the end of the day want cash for Sancho, and that's now what we've got. What cash, again, we don't know. But I think, that was more of a... Get Mazwari properly. Yeah. So I'm just reading some of the comments quickly. Yeah, I can't pronounce Mazwari.
Oh, the pronunciation. PS says, Minna, please teach Dylan how to pronounce Mazraoui properly, Dylan. I hope you also see you on the full view. PS, I love you all, Owen, Minna, and
Dylan, how do you say it?
I Mazraoui.
Oh, it's Mazraoui. From my Moroccan friend said to me, it's Nuzir Mazraoui.
I see. I struggle on the first name quite a lot. The first name I say very quickly.
I remember I was on one of the What the Devil episodes. I was panicking if I was saying Xerxes wrong. Turns out I was saying it right the entire time. I spent half the episode worrying that I was saying his name wrong when we were first. I think
Flex has had a really interesting journey with the pronunciation of Joshua Xerxes, by the way, because we said it as Joshua Xerxes right before we signed him, and then he was like, "No, it's a soft J and it's Xerxes, so it's soft J Xerxes." So we were like Joshua Xerxes, and then he does the whole when they're holding up the piece of paper, he just went Joshua Xerxes, and we went, "Oh." Oh, it's not that. It's just Joshua Xerxes. We've got another person jumping in right here. A beacon of positivity in the world of negativity. That is Manchester United. Mr. Marcel. Marcel, you are here. Hey. Have you heard the news when it comes to Jadon Sancho and Manuel Ugarte? Are you up to date?
Get out of my club now. Oh. Get out. Bomba Clark, leave now.
I thought he was going to be more positive than that. I'm not going to lie. I thought he was going to be more positive.
That's his form of positivity for Jadon Sancho.
I wouldn't have given him that big of an intro with the positivity if that was going to be his first words. But you've made your feelings very clear, Marcel. How are you? What are your thoughts on it all?
I'm so happy he's gone, Owen. I've been waiting for him to. He's been arguing with my manager for how long now? Disrespecting the football club for how long now? I was saying it before. We had I think a transfer show similar to kind of this, but at the beginning of the season last year, and I was saying getting rid of him for 30 million. I'll take 30 million. Do you know how much Ten Hag has done for this man? And now it's time for him to go. I'm so happy, Owen. I'm ecstatic. We need to use that money elsewhere in the squad. So it's done now. I want to know the fee, just like what Dylan was saying. How much is the fee? How much was everyone talking about the fee? I heard everyone talk about the fee.
As you came in, Simon Jones and Sammy Mockbell, Daily Mail basically said it's lower than 40 million. Is all we know at the moment. But I think we were all expecting that.
Yeah,
they were saying earlier today, weren't they? They were saying 20. The Athletic was saying 25, which felt low for me. Because,
I reckon it'll be more than that.
Yeah, it's got.
I reckon it will be more than that.
Well, at the end of the day, we're gonna need something. We're gonna maybe need to go in the market come January. You know, depending on what Ten Hag's doing, if he might need someone else, another body to come in to support his efforts. You know, towards the back end of the season.
For what? In what position?
Let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, just in general. I'm just trying to cover all bases then, because I know people are going to come at Ten Hag left, right, and center throughout this season. So I'm just saying, you know, depending on what happens, you know, left back's looking kind of injury prone-esque right now. You never know. He's going to need that 40 million, and I'm happy to hear that you know, if it's 25 as well. 25 is really low though, and I do hear like what you're saying, man, in terms of, you know, selling to a rival. It doesn't look good, but Chelsea got 10,000 players on the books. It suits Sancho though. It suits him. He's a player that plays that looks like he's interested every 3 weeks. So, you know,
it's interesting though, isn't it? The Sancho thing, just in general. I mean, I know we don't really care too much. You're not a United player now, but I did laugh earlier today when I think Romano said he's really happy with the Chelsea project, and I thought, what project is that realistically? Because even if you ask Chelsea fans,
no one knows what it is.
Yeah, even if you ask Chelsea fans, they're like, well. Dylan, you said it earlier. It's a bit like when you asked him earlier on the week, Jane Sancho, they're like, well, cool, but I have no idea what
he's going to play.
What that means.
He's not going to. He's not going to play, Owen. He's going to be fighting Madueke and Kunku, Modric, Jackson.
He's saying it like that, by the way.
Because it's just, I don't know.
And Neto, don't forget
Neto. There you go.
João
Felix. He's fighting everybody.
They're still trying to sign Osimhen. It looks like they're failing, but they're still trying to sign him.
So, are we getting somebody on the other side? Like, we need to get somebody in a swap deal. That would be nice, you know.
Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look
like
it.
It's just a loan with obligation, straight cash. On your point, Marcel, about getting someone in January, unless something happens in the season, the only thing I can really think of is another midfielder. Because we are, obviously, I don't have any wood near me. Touch wood. We don't get that many injuries.
Wow.
It's just midfield where I'm like, I mean we have currently like 6 injuries, as we always seem to do at any point. But with Ten Hag's whole thing, he wants at least 2 players in each position. Attack we're pretty much covered. Defense we're pretty much covered, assuming like Shaw and Malacia eventually come back at some time. Goalkeeper, we've got Onana. It's just midfield for me.
I'm going to butcher this name, Owen and Mina, because I know you guys are doing Mazwari enunciations. But what's that midfielder's name from Chelsea? Chukwuemeka or something?
Chukwuemeka.
Apparently it's a swap deal for him, apparently it's a swap deal. I've been seeing rumors though.
It's Chukwuemeka, no?
Is it Chukwuemeka? Is that how you say it?
Chukwuemeka, I think. Yeah, Chukwuemeka. Carney Chukwuemeka.
Well, Marcel can't even say tarantula. What was the? How did you say? Tarantula is how he was.
You know what I'm saying though, Owen. So you understand the English.
You're nearly as bad as Kenny, honestly. We ever say, I tell you what, you got to put De Zerbi up front, Xerxes. Yeah, exactly. But no, I don't think that one's going to happen. But I do agree with you though when it comes to January, and I don't know if in January it has to be position specific, because what we do see in January windows is this will happen 100% in January, where just suddenly a player that's not available right now, like nowhere near you think is available, suddenly they just become available in January. Like, oh, by the way, this player is available. This player, like, remember we were looking for, was it Cody Gakpo a few years ago? Oh, Cody Gakpo is available. What was the other one? There's been Julian Alvarez a few years before that. Alvarez goes to City, sold him for a lot of money to Atletico this summer. Like, players do become available, and some of our greatest ever signings have been January transfer window signings, right? Bruno Fernandes, Vidic, Patrice Evra. So it's always worth being able to participate in that January window. And you know for a fact, even though they've spent the most money again in the summer window, Chelsea will be buying players in January as well. Didn't they buy Enzo Fernandez for like £100 million in January? So they'll get involved again. So I don't think that's the worst thing in the world, that we could have that money. Or failing that, we've got even more money for next summer as well. And Ineos can plan for something really big next summer too. Like, Rome's not going to be built in a day, is it? So I'm quite excited by that. But I suppose we shouldn't just focus too much on the outgoing with Jadon Sancho. Ugarte, that has been officially announced now. Minna, he's not available for Sunday, and they said he wouldn't have really played or featured that much anyway. But can he make the difference? I mean, some of his stats, second most tackles across Europe in the major leagues. Only Paulinho had more than him. And we were saying, we could do with a Paulinho, just a younger version. Have we got that, do you think?
I like him. I like him. I watched him a lot at Sporting. Didn't watch him much at PSG, but I watched him a bit at Sporting. My only worry, I feel like Manchester United are lacking a controller in the midfield. I feel like as kind of time goes forward, maybe Casemiro could go more advanced up the midfield, and Ugarte could be that kind of destroyer. I mean, there's that quote that he said about when he loses the ball, it's like going to war. And that part of his game makes me very, very optimistic. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Listen, guys, his first game for Man United, we're going to have to sit there after a match review and count how many times him, Dalot, Licha, how many times they slap each other on the head and they barge each other's chests and all of that kind of hyping up stuff. But I'm going to say something, a bit of a hot take. Based on the transfer window we've had this summer and how United are kind of setting up for future windows, PSR-wise, financially, I don't think these windows are Erik Ten Hag's project. I think this is Ineos's project. The way that Erik Ten Hag spoke about Scott McTominay today, obviously he's gone to Napoli.
He seems gutted, doesn't he?
He seems heartbroken. And I've been saying it for weeks that he would have kept him if it was up to him. I think this is further kind of confirmation we need that this is Ineos's project. This transfer window has proved that, of course, what the manager is not going to play someone he doesn't want to, but the players that they're bringing in and setting themselves up financially to be in a better place next window and the window after that, it's Ineos's world, and Erik Ten Hag is just kind of making an appearance in it.
Interesting. Well, it does look like now we are starting to get some fees as to what this obligation is. The general consensus from the likes of Mike Keegan, I've seen Ben Jacobs say it as well, that it's between 20 to 25 million. I think Ben Jacobs is saying it is 25 million. Hilariously, TalkSport said it's 40 million. And everyone else has gone,
that's coming from Flex. That source is Flex.
Everyone's going, no, it's 25 million. But it does look to be 25 million. Which is low. That is on the lower side. Maybe that is just how sort of desperate United are just to resolve themselves of that situation.
Can I say something just on that? Just based on a PSR perspective, I think that puts them near enough in a profit area for his wages and for his amortization. I think his amortization is like 14 million and his wages are about 12, 13 million. So if they can get anything around that amount that just kind of nets it off from a PSR perspective, they'll be happy. But that also shows that they want to wash their hands off Jadon Sancho. They want to wash their hands off him. They don't want any involvement with him at Manchester United.
Cam, welcome to the show. Welcome to Deadline Day. You've seen the news when it comes to Jadon Sancho and Manuel Ugarte. What are your thoughts on everything that's playing out this evening? Particularly, I suppose, with Sancho, it's loan obligation. It looks like that obligation is £25 million.
Yeah, I can't wait. Get him out, send him to Chelsea, give him another player on hopefully a massive contract that's going to cause him big problems in the next few years. The only thing about it that's slightly worrying me is, you know how Chelsea have just sold that other lad to another one of the clubs in the same group?
Apparently it fell through.
Yeah, it's fallen through.
Ah, okay, good. Good. Nah, that's great news. In which case, I've got no concerns and I'm really happy with our Deadline Day business.
We were just chatting though about the £25 million. I mean, I suppose we don't know if there's going to be like a loan fee possibly involved in that as well. There might be a loan fee. I always said, wasn't it, with Juventus that they were looking for a loan fee? And I think Romano's the first offer earlier on, he said that was a similar package. And perhaps actually United do get closer all in, maybe like £30 million, something like that. But I don't know. What a weird development. What a weird development over the course of 24 hours. That is so mad. Jadon Sancho now it's going to be... But I'm not... You know what? And this is going to come back to bite me so badly. I know as I'm saying this, I know this is going to come back to bite me. But I'm not worried about him going to Chelsea. I'm not worried. Just because I was listening to someone say this earlier, and I thought it was a really good point. you see Mudryk at Chelsea, right? You forget how close he was to going to Arsenal, right? That deal was essentially done for him to go to Arsenal. And then Chelsea came in, hijacked the deal, turned it around last minute, and then everyone's like, he's a dud now. But it was a really interesting point someone was bringing up when they said, well, had he gone to Arsenal and he was working under Arteta and he was maybe in a bit more stable environment, would he maybe actually be a bit better right now than he actually is? Is it the fact that actually the environment and the change of coaches and that kind of fast-paced nature of Chelsea is just not actually helping any player? And if that is the case, we're saying one of the reasons Jadon Sancho has failed at Manchester United is because he doesn't have the right environment surrounding him. Then how possibly could he actually succeed? Do you think there's any merit in that?
He's not going to. I don't think he'll succeed at Chelsea. I agree with you on that. I don't think that's going to come back to bite us. And you're absolutely spot on. The most important thing for players is the environment. If it's not right, no player is going to succeed. And for all we can point at Chelsea and say the environment there is not right, and very clearly it isn't, because the manager's come out and said that there's 20-odd players that aren't training with them and he wants them to leave. Do you remember when the Ten Hag and Sancho thing kicked off? I think the PFA made a statement about it, didn't they? About how he'd been treated unfairly or some nonsense like that. I've not heard a single word said about the Chelsea manager saying 20-odd first-team players need to leave. Honestly baffles me. But for all we can say about the environment at Chelsea, it's no better at United. The number of big signings we've made in recent years, they've all failed for a reason. And there's a lot of players that we've brought in that you'd probably say if they've gone to City or Arsenal would have gone on to be a massive success. So I think on that one, we probably shouldn't be throwing too many stones because clearly the environment's not quite right at United yet. But there are good signs that it's changing. I think Ineos have done a really good job. Been really impressed with the clear out that they've done. And I think the longer we give any particular manager, whether it's Ten Hag or somebody else, the more time you give them, they should be able to bring that sort of continuity and stability back to the club. So from that perspective, things should improve at United. But in terms of environment, I don't see Sancho going on to be a success. He didn't work out in the environment at Manchester City under Guardiola. Obviously, I know he was in the academy at that point and didn't really play too much in the first team, but he didn't work out in that environment. Didn't work out at Manchester United. Yes, he was pretty good at Dortmund, but out of all the various environments he's been in, that's probably the only one where he's excelled. And even when he went back on loan, he was okay. He wasn't, setting the world alight or anything. He was all right. So I can't see it at Chelsea. I really can't.
It's interesting with that as well, because I also heard someone say that one of the key figures involved in the Chelsea project previously had worked in City's academy. And he was quite key to the Cole Palmer bringing in last year. So perhaps he knows Sancho back from those days. Maybe he's a driving force behind that. Or maybe Chelsea just like buying players. They just, you know what I mean? They're just like someone that goes shopping and just can't stop. They constantly buy stuff. I don't know. A couple of super chats here. George says, shout out to United View. Appreciate that. JP says, Sancho gone barber, reviving my hairline. Life has peaked. GJE says, getting Jadon off the wages is key. Happy he left. Dylan, I'll come to you for this one. And this is a difficult one because there's been a lot of talk about how good this window has been for United. And I'm quite surprised by how varied the answers are to that, because there are still some that say we're really light, we haven't done enough business, it's still not been good enough. But there are others that say, actually, this window has exceeded my expectations. Maybe not so much with the incomings, but with the outgoings, definitely, like with McTominay leaving today. How would you rate this window? Has it met your expectations, exceeded it, or is there still could have been a bit better?
Mate, I think Ineos and everyone involved have absolutely smashed this window. I really, because I think a lot of, I don't want to say dirty work, but like necessary, maybe slightly boring work in terms of getting rid of a lot of players, trying to get the wage bill down while also bringing in players. I'd give it an 8 out of 10 window, and then Lenny Yoro makes it a 9 out of 10. The thing that would make it a 10 for me is if we'd sold either one of Casemiro or Anthony and got another midfielder in. But beyond that, I really can't fault almost anything, because even though some of the fees that we've been selling players for, you can argue potentially should have got a bit more for a lot of them. I think the clauses that also Ineos, they've been really, I keep saying Ineos, it's the board of United now. they've been really clever in making sure these clauses mean that down the line we'll probably get more sales. Like there's add-ons, so there's sell-on clauses in pretty much all the sales, I want to say. Like obviously Greenwood, there's a massive sell-on clause. Maybury, big sell-on clause. McTominay, there's even a bit of a sell-on clause. And I think it's like 14 players we've sold. I'm not going to be able to list all of them off the top of my head. But I really think Ineos and the board, everyone, have done as much as they can, considering the absolute mess they inherited. And also the fact that Barada and Ashworth basically came in at the beginning of the window. It's not like they had 3-4 months to sit there and go, we should probably continue playing this player. They've made quick decisions, decisive decisions, got players out, got players in, chosen positions, decided to keep Ten Hag, and then we are now set and ready to go from the season onwards. And the only thing I can think of is a midfielder, and then maybe selling one of the other two I mentioned. But beyond that, I really can't fault what's happened.
Yeah, I think, and again, I agree with you with that. I mean, I'm not sure what I was necessarily expecting, but like you, I did think that there might be a difficulty just with people like Dan Ashworth and even Omar Barada, because he had the garden leave. It does actually lead a lot of credence to the theory that whilst they were not meant to be working, they were definitely working.
We don't talk about that.
Exactly, during that period of time. But I agree. I then look forward and go, oh man, what could they do if they've got a year under their belts and they can actively spend all year looking for suitors for, say, Harry Maguire, Casemiro, or those other Anthony. I'm quite encouraged by that. Minna, how would you rate this window?
I think for the majority of it, I'd rate. If I rate it all together, incomings, outgoings, I'd say 7 out of 10. I'd say 7 out of 10. I think the outgoings lifts it a bit much. Like Dylan said, Ineos have done the difficult stuff, which is just getting players out of the door. I think even when you look at it from the academy players' perspective, Ethan Laird went on 6 or 7 loan spells before Manchester United eventually realised there was no pathway to the first team for him and they sold him. This time round, Alvaro Fernandez, they realised there wasn't a pathway to the first team for him. They let him go. Willy Camboala, they let him go. And they put on decent sell-on clauses. So I saw today, apparently Newcastle had a bid from rejected for Alanga. And Man United have a decent sell-on clause on there. Now, that is from the previous regime. But what I'm trying to say is that with the outgoings, they've done good business. It's the dirty work. It's the fact that they had to get rid of a player like Scott McTominay. Did you guys see the leaving letter that Man United posted for him? That's probably one of the most detailed departure messages that I've seen for a player in a long time at Man United. They've accepted a loan for obligation for Jadon Sancho, where he's going for less than what Scott McTominay went for. Man United are doing the difficult stuff, which is parting ways with players that they evidently can see doesn't have a future at the club. But I'm just looking at the incomings, and I think it's been a decent window. But obviously there is some lack in quality in some specific areas, I would say, for depth. I think with midfield, they've answered a key problem in Manuel Ugarte. In defence, they've brought in not one but 2 centre-backs and a new full-back, obviously having a full-back leaving. In Joshua Zirkzee, they've brought in a striker with a high ceiling that they feel matches the profile and the dynamic of what United are trying to build. I think the incomings is, for me, the 6 out of 10. I still feel like United could have maybe gone for a free player, if possible, that adds an extra body in midfield or adds an extra body in fullback, in defense, etc. But for me, I think kudos to them for the outgoings, because it's not easy, guys. If we take in add-ons, because Sky and everybody likes to talk about Man United's transfer fees with add-ons, more than 130 million in outgoings. When was the last time Manchester United made any money like that in a transfer window with selling players? And I think that is definitely the highlight of everything. But that basically shows me that Ineos have backed their talk. Now it's Erik Ten Hag's time. It's Erik Ten Hag. He better suit up on the touchline and get it cracking.
I mentioned that when you rate this window, it gets quite divisive. We'll get to this. Giggs says, any ball playing baller will fail at United. I know you hate the player, but he doesn't suit transition. I don't hate Jadon Sancho. My goodness me. He says he will play well in a ball retention team. Maybe that's the case with Jadon Sancho. I think when you say it doesn't work out or it hasn't worked out for Jadon Sancho, I don't know if you can point to one specific thing as it's only because of this, as is natural of life. There's lots of reasons that didn't work out for Jadon Sancho at Manchester United. Obviously, the flashpoint with Erik ten Hag, cool. There might have been stuff off the pitch as well. As Cam mentioned earlier on, just in terms of the environment, may not be best suited to him. He was better in the Dortmund environment. Sometimes with players in certain clubs, it just don't work out. Raheem Sterling looks like he's going to go to Arsenal. Maybe it's going to really work out for him there. It didn't work out at Chelsea. So sometimes it is. It's not hate or anything like that. Amanor says Ineos passed the first test. Now over to you, Erik ten Hag, which is kind of what Minna was saying. Show says he's been a member for nearly 2 years, 23 months. Says Maguire, Lindelof, Shaw, Casemiro, Anthony, Eriksen still here. Saying 8 or 9 is crazy. It's a 7 at most. Solid work, nothing special. Which is interesting, Show, with that one, because I would... The problem is with United in comparing to previous windows is the bar is so low. So for us, this is special because we can't sell players. We can't get rid of players. I think that, obviously, if we'd have had a window, we got rid of the players we got rid of anyway, plus Maguire, Lindelof, Shaw, Casemiro, Eriksen, Anthony, you'd be going, my goodness me, what amazing outgoings. But we also, I suppose, have to live in reality that just is not feasible, not possible. And probably not for a lack of Ineos not trying with that. They probably, for all of those players, tried it, but because of sins of the past, they can't really do all that much about it. Jan says, what's realistic for the squad? Surely top 4 plus a trophy. We'll get to that. Wellington says, we currently don't have a natural left back, no option other than Cobby, and we've just sold an attacker without a replacement, leaving us with Anthony and Ahmad on the right. That is Meady, 5 out of 10 window. I'm saying there's divisive opinions. Biggie Third says there is a big difference between getting rid of players to banishing a player to the point he can't eat in the cafeteria. And Jose says our attack is trash. No one is getting 15 Premier League goals. So this is what I mean when I'm saying that when you're talking about the window, there are some that are like, no, I'm not having it. It's not a good window. Cam, I saw you posted something, I think, on Twitter early on about Scott McTominay and about his exit from the club. How do you feel about his exit and how do you feel about the window in general?
Honestly, on McTominay leaving, kind of gutted, which might sound like a weird, genuinely, it might sound like a really weird reaction, but given some of the things I've had to say about some of the other players who obviously aren't good enough for United, and a lot of people would say that about McTominay. But I think there's always a place for a player like him in a squad. I'm not saying he should start every game. Obviously, he's not good enough. Let's not kid ourselves about that. But what he does have are a lot of attributes that are really, really important in a good team. I think he's just very unfortunate with the way the financial rules are, that being a homegrown player, an academy player, it's pure profit banked by selling him. I think there's an awful lot that, honestly, he's done that's fantastic in terms of some of the goals that he scored over the years. I always remember that one. I think I said in that tweet in the derby against City right before lockdown. Honestly, just a number of, I think because of the way it was in terms of COVID, that number of times that I've just sort of like remembered that and just smiled. It's honestly one of my favourite memories at Old Trafford. Was that goal. There's plenty of others that he scored, obviously. Lots of games that he's won us. And also, to be fair, he wouldn't be a United player without all the frustration that he's caused all of us as well. The number of times when you see him and Fred line up together and you just know it's going to be a really painful watch for 90 minutes. But I guess that's part of the game, isn't it? And I think, to be fair to the two of them, they got us to a second place finish in the Premier League, which is probably the best we've done in the past, since Fergie left, really. So there's that side of it. But on the other side of it, I completely understand that we need money to go and buy better players. And at some point, we're going to have to upgrade on Scott anyway. And so if the right time is now and we've got some interest, we've got to do it. There's no, as much as I wish there was, there's not much room for sentiment in football. It doesn't really matter what he has or hasn't done. If it was the right time to move him on for the good of the squad, then completely understand it. So, yeah, it's upsetting, but one of those things. As for the window itself, I think, like pretty much everyone said so far, I'm just a bit disappointed we didn't get one more midfielder. I think I would have liked, there was some rumours that we might get Chukwuemeka from Chelsea in a swap deal for Sancho. I would have been really happy with that. But you guys will probably know better than me if you're looking at tweets live. But I don't think that's going to happen now. I would have really liked to have another really athletic midfielder that we bring in who's just can just sort of play alongside Cobby or even instead of Cobby and just give us a bit more depth. Would have ideally wanted to get rid of Casemiro because, well, obviously he's terrible. Anthony, I think we struggled to give him away. But yeah, I think all in all, as people have said, a solid window, I'd say maybe a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. A couple of super chats, and I'll come to you, Marcel, because people are getting really involved in this. PS says, any chance we get tier 9 KG transfer updates? Well, you never know. You never know. He did say to me earlier on, he was like, he might swing in. That's what he said. He goes, might swing in towards the end. Now, it's KG the comedian, so you never know with him. He's very difficult to pin down. Biggie Third says, sad to hear some of you hope Sancho fails at Chelsea. To be honest with you, with that Biggie Third, I just could kind of care less how he does at Chelsea, in all honesty. In terms of from a footballer point of view, I would hope he does well in the sense of I hope that he can get back to where he was, playing. He was never really a regular for England, actually, really, was he? But in terms of getting back into the England squad, something like that, I would hope that is the case. And ultimately, I hope that he's kind of got what he wanted. If he didn't want to be at Manchester United, then I'm glad that he's got to move. Because I always said about any player at United, if they don't want to be here, then they shouldn't be at Manchester United, right? So I hope in that sense it does work out. Paul says, Ralph said we needed open heart surgery. This summer has been a double bypass. At least it's still we still got future surgeries lined up. Marcel, how do you feel about this window as a whole? How would you rate it?
Scott's finally gone now. That's end of era for McFred. And I agree that maybe Maguire, it would have been nice to maybe see at least Lindelof, because Maguire's 4th choice centre back's all right actually. It was really unfortunate the Euro situation. If he didn't get that injury, we'd maybe seen Euro start and it would have been maybe a completely different type of performance in the last couple of games. But Casemiro as well, Anthony's a big one. But like you say, there's more work to be done in other windows in the future. But really happy to see that breakup of the midfield. I think Adrian Rabiot is on a free. So it would be magical if something could happen in the coming minutes to do with an Adrian Rabiot.
If he's free, it doesn't mean.
I suppose that's possible. I suppose it's possible. Although there wasn't there a rumor he might go to AC Milan. I saw that was floating around today, possibly. But you take Rabiot.
Yeah, I would. I really would, Owen, because Mina just mentioned it in terms of just an extra body in there for the midfield. On a free transfer, it ticks a couple boxes there. Casemiro is not going to be able to play consistent. He's a 60-minute footballer, guys. He's a 50-minute footballer at best. You want somebody that's going to be. Kobe's not as energetic as Adrian Rabiot. Ugarte's there, but maybe just an extra body. That's why similar to what what Cam was saying about the Chelsea lad that I can't enunciate. I would have had him in just in terms of it would just help solid up the team. I know Mina also mentioned that the fullback as well, but like we say, because you're getting money for Sancho, hopefully you're able to utilize that in a critical moment in January to bolster the squad. You don't have to, go and spend now. I think agreeing with what a few other people have said, it's on Ten Hag now. Yeah, there's no excuses for him. I love Ten Hag. I think he will win trophies collect more trophies at this football club. But he's kind of got no excuses now. They've done really good business in Yos, I think, this window. Like I say, I would say Lindelof, because I can accept Maguire. I can't really accept Luke Shaw. He's been too injury prone. And we're looking at, I can agree with those that are saying maybe Mason Mount needs to be on his way out, because availability is always going to be your best ability. But, you can see that that ship will come to the fore maybe towards the end of the season. Let's see what else he can produce. But, Luke Shaw, maybe Anthony it would have been really nice to see them go and then, get a proper quality winger maybe to help Ahmad throughout the season. But I'm going to give it maybe a 7 or 8, Owen. I was saying how important the outgoings were. Sancho is bad behaving and has disrespected my manager. He had to go. Wan-Bissaka is not productive to the way that we want to play football. I love his 1v1 ability. He's a fantastic servant in terms of defensive style of play. And if you want someone to lock up a world-class winger, you're calling that Wan-Bissaka. But, okay, it's against what we're trying to do. And then, obviously, somebody like Scott, unfortunately, I know people will say, Ten Hag wanted him and he said all this nice PR and stuff. But at the end of the day, his role for him was on the bench. It was never going to be in that starting 11. it was never really. We've always wanted somebody better than his technical level. So for me, I'm happy to see the back of him and all the other little business that they've done with, like what Min has been saying, the sell-on clauses as well. It's very clever business. It means that there's a space in the team there to fill. But in the future, maybe if they improve, we get an extra, couple million or so, from another sell from the club that they've gone to. So I'm happy with the business, man.
It looks like as well that Jadon Sancho isn't going to be joined by Victor Osimhen at Chelsea. It looks like that deal is now off, according to Ben Jacobs. They failed to agree personal terms. He's actually set to stay at Napoli at the moment, but the Saudi Pro League window is open until Monday, I think it is. So he still might be headed to Saudi. So Chelsea, they're not even content of sorting out the Jadon Sancho thing. They still got other stuff going on, which is mad. No, I agree with what you're saying there, Marcel. And I think Minna kind of summed it up quite well too, saying that you almost do have to differentiate it when you talk about the window in terms of incomings and outgoings. And it's for me, actually, it's the outgoings that are probably more impressive than the incomings. I'm very happy with the signings that were made. I really like the profile. I like it's a clear profile that United are looking at. That kind of either early 20s, max sort of 26 kind of age bracket that United are looking at. I think the price point has been really good with the incomings too. But the outgoings, it's just because historically we're so bad at them, and we're constantly dealing with difficulty because they're on high wages or because every transfer is deemed as a total failure because we paid so much money for them. So when we do sell, they go, oh my God, look how much it's dropped. I mean, let's face it, even with this Jadon Sancho one, when that obligation turns into 25 million quid, people are going to remember how much did we spend on him? Was it like 70 or something like that? And it could have been over 100 if it was a year prior with what Dortmund were looking for, which is mad. But despite those hurdles, the new football leadership team has been able to move a few players on and do some good business and raise some funds. I mean, with Scott McTominay, some of the stats that were wild about it. I think they were saying like it's the most profit United have made on a deal, like the third most profit they've made on an exit. Like the only ones high was Ronaldo and Beckham, which is mad. I think he's like sixth most expensive exit of all time at Manchester United, which again is mad. And I know the natural pushback to that is, well, Manchester United aren't a selling club, but in reality, you kind of had to catch up with modern football because in modern football, clubs are now, and particularly if we want to be ruthless, Omar Barada, what's he got, the 2-season rule? 2 years in, if it's not working out, then you're gone. That's why I think Mason Mount's in a bit of trouble, in all honesty, because if he's going to spend the rest of the season injured, then I think Omar Barada and people on the football leadership side of things will look at him and say, maybe we sort of get rid of him or look to get rid of him at the end of the season. But again, that will be difficult because he's on 250k a week and locked into a long-term contract, which is going to be challenging. But in terms of window, I'd probably give it a 7. It's not totally perfection. Still got areas to go. But I think again we have to be realistic because I don't think we were ever going to resolve every issue at Manchester United in one transfer window, because you can make an argument for, if you're going to say that 11 starting positions in that team, you can make an argument for like 9 or 10 that need improving. So I think on that part, it's been a good window. But Marcel, you bring up a good point. I'll ask you, Dylan, about this. I think the general consensus is that Erik ten Hag has been backed in this transfer window. There have been multiple players through the door, players that he has worked with in the past. Positions have been strengthened. So is it really now upon him that he has to deliver this season, or at the very least hit those targets of top 4, possibly another trophy?
Yeah, he does. He has to. He's on a 2-year deal, and I reckon there's like a minimum he'll have that he needs to achieve to then probably get into that final year. And if we're not looking really good by that final year, then they're just not going to renew his contract. Like, I think it would have to go pretty poorly for him. There's obviously people, I like, for example, Jamie Carragher. I don't know if you saw his column this morning where he was going on about Ten Hag and Brendan Rodgers are the same. Like, I don't think, I'm fairly confident, or cautiously optimistic, let's say, well, we're not going to have everything's gone completely wrong by November, blah, 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 blah. But no, we need to get top 4 and we should win a trophy. Winning a trophy via, obviously, the 3 competitions we can realistically win, Europa League, FA Cup and Carabao Cup, there's a certain element of luck. And let's say, for example, we get to all 3 finals and then we lose all 3 finals or something. and it just doesn't really go our way. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, we didn't win a trophy, he's got to go, as long as we finished, let's say, top 3, top 4. But he's got to do top 3 and top 4 and do it in a way that instills confidence in us. Because in the first season we finished 3rd, but I think a lot of us always thought, weren't necessarily convinced that would be what would continue to happen. And then last season we then saw the after effects of that. Like, kind of, we looked weird, we looked different, everything was messed up with all the injuries. But I think top 4 is a must, and I want to see at least like 75 points. I want to see a convincing top 4. I don't want to see us scraping on the final day, beating Newcastle on goal difference or something. I want a really convincing top 4, good wins, good games, 75, 80 points, which is a lot of points, and also winning a trophy, because he's won a trophy the last 2. He doesn't win a trophy this summer. Obviously, as I said before, there is a little bit of luck involved in winning the cup competitions. But at the end of the day, he should win a trophy. He's in, especially the Europa League. I was looking at teams in the Europa League. If we're good and we play well, we should hopefully steamroll that competition.
Oh, it was the most, honestly, I did the draw earlier on. I think UEFA are going to regret the Champions League teams not dropping down, because on paper that looks like the most mid competition you've ever seen in your life. My goodness me! Like, the draw for the Champions League was all right because they got these like really sexy ties, and they were like, PSG are going to play like Bayern and this team and that team. And you're like, that's cool. And then, but in the Europa League, it's like, you're going to play Rangers. You go, all right. Cool.
Our draws. I reckon logistically, our draws, we've been quite good with it.
I think so. There's only a couple. I mean, that Fenerbahce away, just because it's Jose and it's in Turkey, I'm a bit like, oh. And it's like Amrabat and Fred, by the way.
Yeah, I know. He put a hat trick for them, I think, last weekend.
Exactly. So I'm looking at that.
I think that Fenerbahce tie is fun. In all honesty,
but I agree with you in the sense.
I want to go in it with positivity.
I'm with Sunday.
Yes, I want to go into the game with Sunday with positivity, even if it's borderline delusion.
Nothing to lose about. I agree with you. Minna, I got a question for you here. Have we seen maybe, when it comes to this transfer window, in the sense of Erik ten Hag's been backed, have we maybe seen why he didn't get a brand new contract and he just got his contract, the trigger extended, in the sense that it's almost like, with Ineos, like, here we go. We're going to give you all of these tools. Here are your tools at your disposal. And we are going to see what you can do before we really lock you down to like a longer term thing. Is Ten Hag not back on trial? Maybe that's not the right word, but are Ineos still evaluating him, do you think? Or do you think it's no carte blanche, he's been backed, they're going to continue to back him?
I don't like the term backing. I don't really like the term backing, because if you think about it, Ten Hag has been backed in every summer window. If we're going off of how much money has been spent, not every manager gets the privilege of spending 200 million in their first window, let alone 3 summer windows in a row. What's that saying? Is like, you could take a man to the water, but you can't make it drink, or you could take a donkey to the water, but you can't make it, something like that.
Is it a horse?
It's a horse. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay. You can take you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. And that's what Ineos have done. They've taken Ten Hag to the water. If he wants to drink it, he can drink it, i.e. get good results, win with this team. But if he doesn't want to drink it, he's just going to end up hanging himself out to be dehydrated and die, i.e. get sacked. So that's the way that I'm looking at it.
I was wondering where this analogy was going.
He's been given everything to succeed, I think. And yes, I think Ineos have every right to trigger his 1-year extension without giving him a long-term contract. It just shows that they weren't really convinced in the 6 months what they saw. Who would be convinced? And again, we can go back to that period in May, June, where is he going to get sacked? Is he staying? Is he going to get sacked? Is he being staying? Is there no other managers available? Everybody's got their kind of own argument about why they ended up keeping him. But I think it's not 2 years that he has his project. I think it's the next 12 months is time for him to cook, essentially, under Ineos. And that's why I've said this window for me is further evidence that it's not Ten Hag's project. Ten Hag is just the coach. It's not his project. It's Ineos building something, I think, that will succeed whoever's sitting in the dugout. whether it's Rude, whether it's another manager, whether it's Erik ten Hag. Now, you look at Arne Slot, for example. I was talking with AGT about this on the preview. You know what AGT is like.
Yeah.
But not everybody gets the luxury of spending a lot of money in their first window. I mean, Liverpool fans are losing it right now about what they've been doing in the window. Chiesa and Mamadashvili, that's coming in next season. And if Arne Slot has a good season with Liverpool and Ten Hag doesn't, the lights are on him. The lights are on Erik ten Hag. I'm being serious. Marcel will have to come here. We're going to have to host a court session at UV Studios because Marcel and other people are going to have to come and answer for their crimes.
I mean, Marcel, look, you've been accused there. Yeah, you've been put on warning. You've received notice in the post. Yeah, big red. Where's this guy doing, man?
I'm here.
He's in the
I'm here. Dedicated.
Are you in the car at the moment?
Yeah, I'm in the car. But then I just had to talk to someone. How you doing, everyone? How you doing, team?
Yeah,
We're good.
We're good.
Hello.
Are we all right? Seeing Sancho in that blue shirt is crazy.
But how are you? How are you feeling about it? Because you called me earlier on today and said to me to fill you in on the transfer news, and I feel like so much has happened already since then. But
Bro.
now that we're kind of settling, the Sancho one's not official, but Romano, here we go. Bear in mind, Ten Hag said earlier on in the press conference, I think he's going to stay. Now he's gone.
We know Ten Hag tells lies, though. That's one thing for sure. We said that, like, when he says what kind of injury someone got, he just says the leg. So Ten Hag's been doing that for a long time. We can't put any stock into some of that stuff that he does say. But then I just literally went on X. I was driving, went on X, and then I just saw Sancho in a blue shirt, and I thought, oh my goodness, it's done. But then a little part of me is kind of I'm happy it's over. Because it's fully over right now, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, and obligation to buy. I mean, the obligation to buy, they're saying, is sort of 20 to 25 million. Might be a bit of a loan fee, so maybe
How
all in
low
it's around.
did that look? What a turn of what an embarrassment, really. Like how low it's got. Like that was one of the. It's a massive flop, to be honest. A Man United flop. I don't care if people go to.
I remember KG, one of the first. I remember it might be maybe not the first, but it's definitely like one of the first. It might even be like the first Flexing KG show on this channel was about Jadon Sancho signing for Manchester United. And fast forward all these years later, he's going for a loan to Chelsea with an obligation to buy of 20 to 25 million pounds.
We wanted 40. That just goes to show. That's like, I swear Mason Greenwood went for more.
But 25 million quid, I think it was, wasn't it? Around that?
Yeah, but I can't believe it, but it just goes to show. But then you say, like I was talking to Minna about this earlier, like his hunger for football has to be questioned. It has to be. Juve, he could have got his career back on track. He's gone in to be a part of a massive group of players right now. Like it doesn't make any sense. What the decision that he makes is a head scratcher. It's mind-boggling. How does he decide that that's the best thing for his career? At least at Juve, the manager that he would have worked under, he would have given him a chance. He has to prove to Maresca that he's got more about him than any of the other players. But that's not our problem anymore. I don't care. And everyone else that is still like glazing and going, I say tickling balls. Anyone that's still tickling Jadon Sancho's balls should just go with him. Honestly, that's what it should be. They should, bro, because I couldn't believe, if you ever heard the conversation I had with Saeed today, Saeed said that how the manager spoke about this guy today in the presser was out of order.
Hey, Saeed's going to be doing, well, to be fair, you would do anyway, but he's going to be doing those Sancho watch-alongs for Chelsea games. He doesn't have to do it now. He doesn't have to do Dortmund games like he did last season. And I said on the red carpet, I said, would you do Juve watch-alongs? He was like, oh, no, but he's now we will. Jadon Sancho's got to be that Chelsea thumbnail. I'm telling you now.
He's never going to be playing that many times in the season because he's going to be playing once every month.
Well, no, he might play them Serviette games, innit? He might play the
Conference League, yeah.
Suffragettes, but they're playing the suffragettes in those teams.
Suffragettes.
The team they were playing yesterday was called like suffragettes or something like that.
I just think it's an embarrassment. Like it's just a disgrace. I can't believe this is how this guy's career has ended up. Like, and I do question Jadon Sancho, but now and what? Anyhow, if we see blue all over his Instagram, I'll be disgusted.
That was going to be my question, because obviously that has been a point of people's contention, hasn't it? That no social media has been updated from him or whatever. And the natural pushback to it has been, well, no one really cares. But if it does go full blue or whatever,
there'll be an Instagram story on there by the end of the night, surely.
What do you think?
He just wants to live in London and piss him out.
Look how quick he did it when he went back home. Sorry, let me mute myself.
No, you're right. He's right. It was so quick when he went back home. But yeah, he just wants to live in London and piss about, I think. He doesn't have an interest in his actual football by the looks of it.
No, but can I just say, I think, like I was saying before, guys, it's going to benefit him. He's the type of player that will just prepare once a month, twice a month, and he will play well because there's so many other players that can like pick up the slack for him, you know, within the course of a month. You know, there's how many wingers available to select. So
yeah, but how long is it before they all start turning on each other?
Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah, the club's going to go into administration. That's a whole different thing. But like for him, temporarily, for this course of the season, he'll be happy to play twice a month, and I think he's going to be happy for that. Because, like what KG's saying, like his motivation for football, his hunger for football, I don't think is really there like that. If I'm honest.
A couple more super chats
here.
Harsh. Let's get through them. I'll go back to you, Dylan. Jadine says, can you do a quick prediction for Liverpool? We'll finish on that. Eminem says, pray for a left back in the next 23 minutes. I think the prayers will go unanswered. Kishan says, Dylan, aka Mount, wearing a Chelsea shirt. Accusations, Dylan. There's a rumor that
cricket top.
There's a rumor that the blonde hair was a way to move away from the Mason Mount comparisons. Although didn't he go? He went platinum last year, didn't he? There you go.
Yeah, I think he did.
We've never seen Dylan and Mount in the same room, so
it's very true. It's very true. And International says, so Chelsea gets 60 for Mount and United get 25 for Sancho. Dylan, you were going to say?
Yeah, I just like, as much as Jadon Sancho going is the best deal for all parties, and I think we're all pretty glad that he's gone. I think it's a bit harsh to say that he doesn't care about football, blah, blah, blah. I think he's just someone who's not built to play at a club as big as Man United and as highly scrutinised as Man United, which is fine because we now know that, and he's not at the club anymore. But I do think it's a bit harsh to kind of say that he doesn't care about football, because the whole reason he was banned in his mind from United last year was because he felt he had something to give and he wanted to play, and Ten Hag wasn't playing. Whether that was true or not, in like outside of his own head, in his head, that's what it seemed. He thought he was training well. He thought he deserved to play. And that is someone, if you want to play, you want to play. And I feel like it hasn't worked at United. He hasn't got, maybe he just doesn't have the character, or maybe, you know, it's just like not the right time for him, because obviously he had like a load of stuff outside of football and everything as well. And he's just not someone who suits United. That doesn't necessarily mean that he can't play and he doesn't care about football. If that makes sense. So I feel like it's a little bit harsh, but like saying that he doesn't care about football and he wants to just go piss about in London.
Nah, he doesn't care, mate. Not having it. He doesn't care. No, we're not defending Jadon Sancho. You lot can piss off with that. That's done, bro. The guy doesn't. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it, bro. Man United fans, grow a pair, bro. We don't need to love that kid no more. Doesn't play for us. Not a player. No, but I'm saying I'm not defending. I'm done. We defended him the first time. It's over, bro. It's one of them. You go into the power with Henderson and all the other players, and not saying like I don't care what he does really. He's in that group of players, bro. Let's have it right. We spent a lot of money on this player. He doesn't care about the club. Even if anyone can say, he's had a hard time. Some people are even crying that he had to travel to Brighton and go on this long train ride and he didn't get to play. Piss off.
Yes, KG.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Like, when are we gonna? Do you know the great players that have been at this club that we've seen leave? Great players. Jadon Sancho. Name me 5 great performances, and then we're doing this. It's weird. It's disgusting.
Here's one, KG. Who's done more at United? Who's done more at United? Anthony or Jadon Sancho?
Anthony. Easy.
I think
But
Anthony.
we're not even going to put Anthony. No, I don't even listen. Anthony, that's the bar's too low. I'm not comparing it to us. Anthony is another one that we're just going to wait and see what happens. But I'm talking about real players. We're talking about real players. And Jaden, unfortunately, is a Man United flop. Simple as that. Anyone, it's up to you if you want to feel bad for him. Jaden could have rolled up his socks. Maguire has a better legacy at Man United than Jaden Sancho, and that's a Jaden Sancho problem because he didn't want to pull his socks up and get busy. Anyone that's saying that they defend it is just chatting shit. Personally, I'm not listening to anyone saying he's had a hard time. How many players have come to Man United and not been given a chance but waited and got in and done something? We saw more from Dan James in a Man United shirt than Jaden Sancho. Let that one sink in. We've seen more from like so many players, and it's not because it's not a bias. I wanted Jaden Sancho to do well. I wanted him to be good. It hasn't worked. We have to get over it. How many good performances do we see from Jaden to Bebe or something? He scored against Liverpool. Manucho scored a wicked goal. What are we talking about? He's in that bar now. Manucho.
Yeah, no, he's right. He was from
Makeda.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Manucho, remember that little backwards that I've seen them turn up here and do a madness. This guy doesn't even get on the list of Makeda. I've seen more from him. From him.
No, it's disappeared.
He went in though. He's
I tell you what, though, the Bebe and Manucci bod is kind of wild. I think Jade Sancho might have done a smidge more.
Oh yeah, I'm losing.
I can tell, KG, you're losing. Well, it'll take about. If he gets back, he'll be back in. Yeah. But look, to be honest, we've probably spoken. Oh, he's back now. There you go. You're back, KG. Kind of.
I'll go. It's not working. But yeah, anyway. Love you guys.
Bye.
And I was doing the show with him this morning from his hotel room. That was like that as well. But I tell you what, he ended on a good point when it comes to Jane Sancho and all that as well. So big up to KG. But if you are just joining us, folks, how many likes are we currently at, actually? We've got still over 1,300 people watching. We're about 15 minutes left until the window shuts. I mean, Manchester United have done all of their business this transfer window. But the sort of latest news is Manuel Ugarte has been announced and confirmed. And Jadon Sancho, we have a here we go for a loan with an obligation to Chelsea. In terms of likes at the moment, we are at over 900 likes, less than 100 to go until 1K likes. So if you haven't already clicked the like button for this deadline day stream, a couple of more super chats here. Biggie Third says, Marcel sounds like a hater. Marcel, can you confirm or not confirm if you're a hater?
Hater on who? On Sancho?
I believe so.
Listen, I have the same sentiment or mindset as KG. I wanted him to do something for a long time now for the football club, you know, even under Ole. And I was saying to get rid of him, I think it was before the season where Ten Hag does something unprecedented, sends a player away for 3 months to get their mind right and you know, sort out their off the field issues, and then he plays him straight away as soon as he comes back. And I think he has a good game, and then he just fizzles out again. So I'm not hating on Sancho. I said that he was the English Neymar. I said he was the English Neymar. I still kind of, yeah, and I still kind of stand by that. I love this player. I what his ability. I love this player. But like what you know, Dylan's been saying in terms of his mentality and the scrutiny that it takes to play for this club, he just doesn't have that. In terms of respecting the manager, that's the number one for me. I've seen Sir Alex get rid of way bigger players than Jadon Sancho for a lot less to a degree. So for me, it's like, you know, I'm not a hater on Sancho. Anyone that puts on the shirt, I want them to do fantastically well. I wanted Maguire gone, but he puts on the shirt. I want him to perform excellent for us. And I'm going to praise him when he performs well. And I'm going to criticize him when he performs poorly. But I can't hate on any player that wears our shirt, man. I love every single one of the players, but Sancho disrespected the manager. It's time to go. Like I said, Bamba Clark, leave.
When David De Gea was here, he did kind of hate on him quite a bit, actually, Marcel.
No, but I called him a legend. I accepted that he was a legend of the club, and I just wanted the evolution of Manchester United Football Club in that position, and it's happened. We've evolved. We've kind of Onana hasn't really Onana'd the way I thought he was going to. Like, he's not been that great, but he looks more like a Bravo signing If like in terms of what and in terms of that position, Bravo wasn't the guy. Then they end up getting Edison. So hopefully, maybe if it's a Nana, if he's still performing like this, maybe another 2 seasons, we hopefully get the guy I originally wanted, which was Diogo Costa. So hopefully that something like that happens. But in terms of what the position now is able to do, we're able to play out from the back. He doesn't really come across as well. He's a bit calamitous in that. His saving technique, De Gea is better. I can admit that. But I feel like it functions a bit better for the football team, that position now. So I wasn't hating. I was kind of hating on him. Yes, I can admit that. But it was for good cause.
Black Zeus has been a member for 13 months, says, I stand with KG. Got no love for Sancho. He doesn't rate the club or the fans, so don't rate him. United over everything and everyone. Biggie Third says, is it weird or did KG suddenly develop a list? You know what? StreamYard does that. If you don't call in with headphones or whatever and you're on a phone, it gives you a lisp. I don't know how it does that, but it gives you a lisp. It is, but KG hasn't. PS says, a moment of applause for Potato Head Ed Woodward's last summer window for United in 2021. All the signings are no longer at the club. Damning. That is very true, isn't it, as well? It was Varane, Sancho, crazy. And Cristiano Ronaldo. And in the space of, 3 years, they're all gone, which is pretty wild. Shenanigans says Dong Fang Zhu has a bigger legacy than Jadon Sancho. My style advisor has gifted 5 UV memberships. I don't know who are the beneficiaries of that, but big up to you. Appreciate you gifting out 5 memberships. Actually, you got Matty Lad, Imran, Blackmora, Ted, and Renato have been gifted memberships by my style advisor. Big up, appreciate that. And Jan says, Owen, whose shirt is your dad getting this season? I pass on that question. I did not wish to comment until later on in the season because, for my goodness me, the jinx and the judge, we'll never come back from it. I can't say. I'll say it later on in the season. Cam, I'll come to you because we did finish off talking about Ten Hag being backed. What are your expectations from him this season? Now that this transfer window has now been wrapped up, does he have to deliver? And what does sort of delivering look like?
Honestly, much the same as everyone else. I think the performances have to get quite a lot better and pretty quickly. I've been one of his biggest fans for quite a while and always been, most of the time, defended him for the issues that are beyond his control and the things that need sorting, like the injuries last season was just ridiculous. There's not much you can do about that in any situation. But there is also a point at which the manager simply has to deliver. And I think the bit that could get frustrating is when we have everybody fit, we have a half-decent performance, but we go on a streak where we don't win a couple of games, we get concede a goal late on, like we did against Brighton or a few other teams, make a few sloppy mistakes. That sort of thing tends to happen in the season before you're quite good. You screw up quite a few games you should have won based on your performance. So I'm a bit worried that happens and that puts a dampener on things. That said, I would still expect, at the very least, a very good challenge for the top 4. Now, when I say a good challenge, I don't mean the thing that happens every season where the last 15 games of the season, all of the teams in the top 4 race just can't get more than 1 win in a row. Because that seems to happen every year. No one wants top 4, it feels like.
It's mad. Around April, everyone starts losing.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's crazy. So as long as I would hope that we get a good challenge in, and by that point we're in a good place for it. I think we need to go far in some competitions as well, because that's what Ten Hag's been very good at. He's won trophies every single year. I think he came out and said himself that he's won a trophy every year of his managerial career. So fair play to him, and hopefully we keep that up. But yeah, there needs to be some pretty big improvements and pretty quickly as well. Where I worry for him though is that I think the squad just still isn't where it needs to be. Ultimately, if you compare our squad to the rest of the league, I'm not sure we've got a top 4 squad. I think there's teams there with better squads than we've got. Obviously, City and Arsenal have got better squads, but honestly, I think Villa are probably slightly better. Newcastle, obviously, out of Europe, probably I'd put them a little bit ahead of us at the moment. And there might be 1 or 2 others that are similar or there or thereabouts. So it's tough to sort of say you need to be top 4 without having that squad, but I think he does need to show a big level up in terms of performances.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. I think you're right. I do think it is actually that top four is going to be really, really tight this season, because I do think you mentioned about City and Arsenal being far and away. I don't know where I would include Liverpool with that. I know, like last season, for a hot minute, it looked like they were going to be involved in the title race, and then they kind of faded away. I still don't know if we've actually really seen what they're like this season. I think Sunday's going to be really interesting for them, because for me, they've had 2 games that they should win, and they did win. But then I think you're right, that kind of 3rd and 4th place, there's a lot of teams. You know, you could argue if Spurs, they had injuries last season, if they were more consistent, maybe they would have been closer. I think you're right in the sense that I think Aston Villa are actually quite well equipped this season. And I don't know if they're going to have the drop off maybe that Newcastle did, because I think they've done some pretty good business. As you mentioned, Newcastle, without being in Europe, they might be a bit better. They did have injuries too last season. Who knows what will happen with Chelsea? Of course, maybe they might, because they did end the season fairly strongly. So maybe stuff might click for them. And then, of course, there's Manchester United. And then there'll probably be this other team that we haven't even thought of. Maybe Brighton. They've started the season really well too.
Even West Ham done some great business.
Yep. West Ham, they've done really good business too. So I think it's going to be really interesting. But maybe that's why teams do start dropping points like around sort of April and all that kind of time, because everyone can beat everyone, right? So that's certainly a possibility. We've got just less than 20, or just over 20 likes rather, to go until 1K likes. If you haven't already, click the like button. Just finally, before the window does shut, Marcel's gone. Just before the window does shut, how are we all feeling about Liverpool at the weekend as well? Big game, obviously derby game. Given the fact we lost against Brighton too, extra pressure on it. It's just for an international break. So if we don't win, we know exactly what the media are going to be talking about for 2 weeks, which is going to be lovely to participate in. It was bad enough today in the press conference. My goodness me, what a shit show some of those questions were. But how are we all feeling? Dylan, I'll start with you. Are you feeling optimistic? Are you concerned? How do you think it's going to go?
Best way I can put it is I'm feeling up for it. Is the best way I can describe how I feel. I mean, Liverpool, they've started well. They started very well under Slot. Good, 2 good wins. I think we've looked pretty good for the most part, because we've not had a striker playing, and it's been still a little bit mismatch with the whole, right, Diogo Dalot at right back, bit of a front to Mainu and Kobe being a bit exposed. I'm hoping we don't continue, specifically against Liverpool, hoping we don't continue this press. Because although it's looked good against Brighton and Fulham, I've quite liked it. A, we don't have Mount, who's been really key to it. And B, I feel like pressing Liverpool might not be the best idea, because they are a fantastic team at the end of the day. But I'm feeling up for it. I really am feeling up for it, because it's at Old Trafford, 3rd game of the season. Most of our players are back. Most of them are starting to look fit, match ready, sharp. And I think the little start, I think he'll have a good game. Well, hoping he has a good game.
Yeah, no, I agree. You would think the lit's going to start. Minna, how are you feeling about Sunday? I mean, you did the preview of AGT, which actually we can get the plug up on the screen for that. There you go, right there. That's the match preview. 9 o'clock tomorrow. Minna with AGT from the COP TV. Minna holding firm there in UVHQ. So be sure to check that out tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. But without giving too many spoilers ahead for it, Minna, how are you feeling about the game on Sunday?
Unusually optimistic. I think even with, maybe it's more so to do with Ten Hag's record against Liverpool. And can I just say, like, you never really know what you're getting with United versus Liverpool. You could get a low block Man United, that counter attack. You can get a back and forth game. Like last season, you saw we played Liverpool 3 times, guys, and all 3 games was kind of different. But I will say one thing, an interesting thing. In my life of going to Old Trafford, I've never watched United lose. And I'll be at the game on Sunday.
Minute, I tell you what, I had the same thing for the longest time. My record was like over a decade.
Yeah, I've literally like 10 years of going to Old Trafford. I have not seen United lose. I've seen draws, but I ain't seen losses.
Southampton, 2015, Charlie Austin. I was devastated. Louis van Gaal took that from me. Yeah, took that from me.
That was a
devastated.
Bad game.
Devastated. Absolutely gutted with that. But that's not going to happen at the weekend. But I'm saying records can be broken, okay? But I agree with you. I like that positivity. And if that's, I don't know what we are calling that officially. Is that the Minna Judge? Maybe.
No, I don't believe it. I don't believe in Judge, guys. So that erases it.
That raises it. But Minna will be there, which basically means we're going to win. So you heard it here first. If we
and
don't,
form goes out of the window for these kind of games, guys. Don't be so pressed about the Brighton scoring. Liverpool are unbeaten, haven't conceded. This is a big derby. It's the derby of the North. Anything can happen. The wildest of things can happen.
That's true. Marcel, how are you feeling? I mean, your prediction was we wouldn't lose any of our first 5 games. Didn't go to plan. A bit like last season where you said we wouldn't lose a game at home all last season, which also didn't go to plan. But what is your feeling for Sunday?
Of course, I'm going to predict a winner. And of course, I think it's going to be counter-attack based, though, the style of football that we play for that win. I mean, the 4-2-4 that we play is kind of really interesting because depending on where you deploy it, you can get certain types of aspects of performance. So when we kind of press really high against opposition, it's like we're trying to go all-out attack and kind of, play from the halfway line. But then when you play counter-attack, it's really kind of compact. You might see Xerxes defending and we're playing inside our half. So I think there's a possibility that it's either going to be, I was hoping for a draw as well, a draw or win, because, Liverpool might be really on fire at the moment. I mean, in terms of, I saw the Ipswich game. It just took a few moments for them to kind of, in the second half to kind of get into gear. And then, they start creating loads of chances. But I want us to win this game. It's at Old Trafford. Like what Mina was saying, Derby of the North, a big game, but I think it's going to be counter-attack. Garnacho has to play. Garnacho really is going to have a big impact on this game. And De Ligt. You have to see De Ligt. I don't think I trust Maguire in this fixture. So De Ligt and Garnacho play, have to make an appearance, and I think we'll win it.
We can now confirm the summer transfer window has now closed. Done. Thank God, it's over. Yes, the window has shut. The deadline has passed. Kind of. There will still be late confirmations when it comes to all of it. Of course, as they've got one of those deal sheet done. They were saying about Raheem Sterling to Arsenal. That still looks like that's going to happen, but they've got a deal sheet because they need a bit of extra time. There is a couple of other windows that haven't technically shut yet. The one in Saudi, the one in Turkey. So you never know. Possibly you could see like a Victor Lindelof, maybe go to Turkey or something like that later on. Anything's still possible. But largely that is the business now done for Manchester United in the summer transfer window. It is now shut. And we did have some deadline day deals for Manuel Ugarte. The Jane Sancho one, as far as I'm aware, hasn't officially yet been announced. That might be another one where it's like a deal sheet or something like that. But that looks like it is going to happen. And but 2 deadline day signings of Ugarte and Koné. They did actually announce that one today as well, so that counts too. 2 technically counts. Cam, just before we wrap things up, how are you feeling on Sunday? Are you optimistic? How are you feeling?
Honestly, nervous. You never know what to expect, particularly with obviously new look United, a lot of signings, and obviously a new manager at Liverpool. I don't think we'll sit back because I don't think you can do that at Old Trafford. In all honesty, I think you have to go out and really try and impose yourself on the game. I just worry that we turn the ball over too much high up the pitch and get counter-attacked. I think with, Casemiro struggles at the best of time covering space. Leacher sometimes in the channel struggles. It's De Ligt's first start in the Premier League, and it is a seriously intense game to come into with a really, really fit, physical Liverpool team up against you. So I just worry that the things that we're not good at play exactly into the things that they want to do. So, I'm a bit worried. I guess the crowd at Old Trafford could flip it, and that's probably the best chance United have if they give enough encouragement to the crowd. So maybe 2-1 win.
2-1. You know what? I'm actually feeling quite optimistic this weekend. I'm feeling optimistic. Exactly. I'm feeling optimistic because it's at home. It's Liverpool. We've been rubbish and we've still beat Liverpool at home before. So I don't think recent form really has all that much to do with it. I remember in Eric's first season, we played Liverpool at home 3rd game. We lost the first 2 games and we beat them then. Last season, of course, played them 3 times in all comps. They didn't beat us. And we were rubbish last season. When we went to Anfield, we had like half a team out, didn't we, that day? And we still managed to draw 0-0. Obviously, drew in the league against them at Old Trafford. Probably should have won that game as well. Late penalty, which was a bit of a dubious one. And we weren't even that good for the majority of that game either. And of course, the FA Cup with Ahmad's late winner. And for a lot of that game, we weren't that good, actually. We scored at the right times with that one. So I'm feeling good. And also, you know, when it comes to Arne Slot's version of Liverpool, pre-season's pre-season, can't read too much into it. But Eric knows him. Eric's played against him before. Their win record against each other is exactly 50-50. 2 wins apiece, I think, from when they were Ajax and Feyenoord. And like I said, like Dylan said, I think in terms of the fans, but I also think everyone that's there, and I think the players, I think they're just going to be up for it. I just think there's going to be this sort of overwhelming feeling of like, we've got to get a result today. We've got to set things right. There's been a lot of sort of questions asked maybe over the last week or so coming out of the Brighton game, and it's upon United to sort of send a bit of a message of, no, last season was last season. It was just one of those ones. Plenty of teams will go to Brighton this season and they'll lose. Brighton are a good side, but we're gonna do this. We're gonna win. So I'm feeling optimistic. I think Manchester United win the game 2-0. 2-0. Not even going to concede, Marcel. That's what's going to happen. And yeah, I think Man United win, and hopefully AGT, then everyone can call him a sausage, because that's exactly what he actually is. So yes, indeed. Right, a couple more super chats, I think, and then we will wrap things up. The last one from Nadeem says Sancho's IG is all yellow, says everything about him. Well, maybe soon it's going to be all blue. But big up to everyone, and big up to the whole panel. Actually, a reminder, like we just said earlier on, there's going to be the match preview tomorrow with Minna and AGT. Also, Sunday, full match day experience as per usual. We're going to have the road trip from Flex going up at about 9 o'clock. Also, after that, of course, we're going to have the match view with myself beginning 2 hours before kickoff at 2 p.m. The full-time views afterwards for members to call in and have their say. And also, of course, outside Old Trafford, we're going to have all of the reaction from the fan views from Flex and all of the fans too. So make sure you tune in, lock in for that. Be sure to subscribe, click those notification bells. You'll be notified when any of those videos goes up or indeed will go live. Big up to the panel. Big up to Dylan. What's United District on at the moment? It's like less than 100K to go to 1 million on X, isn't it? At the moment, I think it is.
Yeah, it's one day. We'll get there one day.
Exactly. So if you haven't already, you know what to do. Go follow United District and watch What the Devil Wednesday, 6 p.m. here at United View. Big up, Minna. I believe if it's not already, someone will put your link to your channel in the chat.
I'll be live after this, guys. So come over.
Again. Oh,
yeah.
I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
Minna.
And I'll be live with Marcel tomorrow morning as well, guys. So come over.
Graft. There you go. Well, there you go. It's perfect plug for Marcel as well. Marcel will be live with Minna tomorrow morning. So be sure to check him out on that, and also follow him on all of the socials. Mr. Positivity, Eric Ten Hag's lawyer. He's got many a nickname. And he's also, I guess, fighting Eric Ten Hag's corner on Saeed's channel as well, doing the good fight. So be sure to check him out there too. And big up Cam as well. Are you going to be at the game at the weekend, Cam?
I will be, yes. Looking forward to it.
Yes, Cam will be there at the weekend, so you can hear from them then, and you can also follow him on all of the socials too. Anyway, guys, we're out of it. Appreciate you all tuning in. Appreciate everyone for following during this transfer window. It's very up, it's very down. You never know what's going to happen. It is now over. We can all breathe for a day, and then we're going to play Liverpool, and then we're going to get really angry and upset or happy again. But still, transfer window's over. We're out of here. Peace.